specific objectives and how you want to achieve those objectives. That is what goals are in simple terms. Now, your goals can be in different spheres. It could be your personal life, personal development, it could be your spiritual life, it could be your business, it could be your career path, it could be even your health. In any aspect of your life, you could have goals that you want to achieve. For instance, in health, you can say, okay, this year, 2025, I don't want to fall sick, I want to be healthy. All right? Some person might say, oh, I want to lose maybe 20 pounds of weight and be trendy. Some person might say, okay, no, I just want to, avoid going to the hospital this year. That could be your health goal. It could be career path. You could say, okay, this year I want to improve on my certification. Or I have OND, I want to get HND. Oh, I have BSc, I want to get PGD. That could be your career goal. It could be your business. Oh, you have a side hustle. Of course, you have a side hustle in this 2025, in an economy, zipping economy. I don't know how you survive. So I believe by now, somehow, we should have side hustle as unofficial though. Because we can tell the corporation, we know that aside from your normal duty, the only other thing that you are allowed to do is agriculture, right? But again, I know also that the management is quite magnanimous enough to turn a blind eye to side hustles that will not affect your job. Right? I'm sure the idea will say hearing me, and if I'm wrong, will say I'm wrong. So please, in 2025, you should also have business goals, right? Side hustle goals added to whatever you are doing. And so these are the areas you can have, even relationship, family goals, different in anything aspect of your life, you have goals that you want to achieve this year, right? For instance, in family, men or women who have not been the family type, can say, okay, this year I want to show more care and concern to my family. I want my children to know me more. I want to show them love. I want them to concern in their life. That could be your family goal, right? So you will have goals in every sphere of life. Now, apart from just the goal, what are the things that make a goal effective? That's the next part we want to talk about. What are the things that make goals effective? The first one that I want to talk about is being specific. Make it specific. Now, it's not, for instance, you say, by the end of 2025, I want to own a car. I want to have a car, I want to build a house. That's not specific enough. Say, by the end of 2025, I want to own a bungalow in Ibadan. Somewhere around Eleshiloye. Right? Right? The two, you want to have a 2-bedroom flat. I have a lot of WhatsApp. In Ibadan, you know what I'm saying? So your goal has to be specific, very clear. You don't say I want to own a house at the end of 2025. No, that's not enough. Break it down to specifics so that it is something you can see and you can envision. Right? That's the first thing. Make it specific. The next thing you need to do is make it measurable. Now, by measurable, I mean there are stages in achieving that goal. For instance, look about house, right? You want to own a house in 2025, by the end of 2025. What are the steps that are involved in getting that house? Probably getting the land, knowing the cost of cement and all the structure and all that, getting an architect to draw the plan for you. These are the processes. So when you're making it measurable, you are looking at the processes involved in hitting that target. So by the time you know those processes, you can measure your progress. So if, for instance, the first month in January, you have gotten the place where the land where you want to build, that's the progress. The next one is, you know the cost is maybe 2 million naira. Alright, okay, by March, go to 2 million naira, big progress. Okay, the next thing is have an architect who has to draw, look at the land, draw, give you the drawing, and now you have your workers. Once you achieve that, that's another progress. So your goal must be measurable. So the first one is what specific, the next one is what measurable. The next one is achievable. Make sure that your goals are achievable. Now, when you talk about achievable, what do I mean? You know your salary, for instance, is 100,000 or 200,000. And then you say, by the end of 2025, I want to buy a Prado Jeep. A brand new Prado Jeep. No, I know what I'm saying. Your source of income is 200,000, right? That's what you earn. And then you say, or not even up to. And then you say, I want to, by the end of 2025, I want to buy a brand new Prado Jeep, not even second hand, brand new, which costs about close to 100 million. Right? That's the book of sport bets. Sport bets give you the money and all that kind of thing. Those kind of goals are not realistic. They are not realistic, trust me. You can't be setting goals on luck, based on luck. Maybe luck will happen. You enter, why you go enter for me? No, that's not, these are not the right goals. So your goals must be achievable, must be realistic. Looking at the situation around you and the things you think you can put in place to make sure it is achieved. So that's the third one. Make sure your goals are achievable goals, right? That's number 3. Number 4, make it relevant. Your goal has to be relevant to your president.
Every time.
For instance, I am not a pastor. I can't say my goal for 2025 is I want to have the biggest church in West Africa. I'm not a pastor. Why should my goal be having the biggest church in West Africa? Do you understand? That is not in line with my goals and objectives. The pastor that preached to us can say that is his own goal. That goal is relevant to him because he is a pastor. Or the man might say, okay, I want to have the biggest mosque, in Oyo State. That goal is relevant to him. So if you are setting goals, to make sure those goals are relevant to your present, what you do. You understand? So that's another point you need to take note of. Relevance. Your goal must be relevant to your objectives as a person and your values. The 5th one is your goal has to be time bound. Time bound. Don't just say, I want to build a house. You don't have a time. Whether it's maybe the next 10 years, the next 20 years, next 6 months. Be specific. I want to build a house in 2025. By the end of December 2025, that is 1 year plan. Or I'm planning for 2 years for this particular goal. I'm planning for 10 years for this particular goal. Your goal must be time bound. Don't leave it empty. Don't leave it endless. If it's endless, you will not be motivated enough to carry out that goal, to achieve them. Alright, so you must set a time on the goal you want to achieve. Right? So these are the framework for making an effective goal. Now, apart from just getting these goals, the next thing is how do you achieve them? That's the next most important thing. I remember when the idea was prepping me for this particular talk. She said it's not just about talking about goals. How do we achieve these goals? It's easy to just say, do this one, so make it smart, make it measurable, achievable, and the rest of them. How do we really go ahead to achieve them? When we set these goals, what are the things that will make us put the effort to get it done? I'll mention 10 things that will help us through in the process of achieving our goals. Number 1, break it down to smaller tasks. What do I mean by that?
Excuse me here. Go side up, please.
The first one, break it down into smaller tasks. What do I mean by that? We've been using the house analogy, so I'll use that again. You want to build a 2-bedroom flat in Alalobosa, right? By the end of December. Breaking it down into smaller tasks simply means that, okay, the first step is the fact that let's procure the land first. That's a smaller task. The next task will be, okay, let's get the cost implication of building the house. The next one would be, let's build to lay the foundation. The next one, probably lintel level. The next one, roofing. These are smaller tasks. When you break it down this way, it makes it look achievable to you than just, I want to build a house. If you look at just the end goal from the beginning alone, you might be demotivated to continue because it might look too big for you to achieve. So when you break it down into smaller bits, it's easy for you to say, okay, I want to focus on getting this land first. That's the first target. You get the land the next day. So these are milestones that can help you, make sure your goals are achieved. That's the first one. The second one is have an action plan. Now, by creating an action plan, it simply means from the start to the finish, have it in black and white, write it out. How do you go about achieving that goal from the beginning point to the very end? Write it out. First step, this. Second step, this. Third step, fourth step, fifth step, seventh, eighth. If possible, put in your time in between. Okay, by January 31st, I'll achieve this first step. By February, this, I'll achieve this. By March break it down like that. Have the action plan from the beginning to the end. That way you can see the whole plan and you can walk through with it to the very end. The third thing I want to talk about is priorities. Now in priorities, not all the tasks can come at the same time. Some must come before the other. Using the same house building analogy, you can't talk about roofing the house when you've not done the foundation. You can't be talking about building when you don't acquire the land. So you must set your priorities right, which comes before which, right? So that again should be what we should look into. The next one, time management technique. Now, apart from just the house matter, let's not look as if it's only house that is the goal that we're having. Now, by time management, for instance, your own goal could be that you want to acquire a skill, right? You want to acquire a skill, maybe digital skill. That could be your goal. Now, the time management technique I'm talking about here is you need to agree which time in the day or in the week I want to achieve this particular goal of getting that skill. It could be okay, maybe by 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. That is my time. Okay, I know by 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. By 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. I'll be less busy. That is the time I'll fix in to achieve, to read maybe a particular material to get more knowledge or to take up this course and study online. So fix in those times. Don't just leave it open. Okay, by next week I will do it. No, that's not enough. Fix a time in between when you want to achieve those goals and when you want to do that work that is necessary. For instance, you will also be writing a book. Maybe you want to write a book at the end of the year, a book on motivation or whatever it is. Agree on the time you want to do that. Okay, from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Mondays, I will be doing this, I will be doing that. So when 2 p.m. when it is 2 p.m., you do that job.
That 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. does not apply here.
Of course, I understand what you're saying, man. So I just use that technology. I just use that technology, right? I hope you understand what I'm saying. It must not be 2 p.m. I'm just saying you must block in that time so that when that time reaches, you know that is the thing you're supposed to do. So do that while you're having that time management. And next one again is monitor your progress. Monitor your progress. So if by every step on the way, look back and be sure that you evaluate the progress you have made to be sure you're really making your strides towards achieving your goal. Right? Check the things you have done in the past. Okay, I said in January I have bought a land. I said in February I should have done this. I said in March I have done this. Go back and check through. Have I achieved those things within a period of time? If no, what are the issues I had encountered along the way? What can I do to better achieve my goal in the preceding months? That again is something you should look into. And then the next part, this leads me to the next part, which is flexibility and adjustments. So when you have monitored the progress and you've noticed the setbacks along the way, you should be flexible enough to adjust your plan. Don't say because I've set it like this, then it must be like that. If you notice setbacks, if you notice challenges, go back, see if you need to adjust your plan to suit the current situation. For instance, in 2019, we had COVID came. In 2020, a lot of things were shut down, businesses shut down, and all the rest of them. But with time, we tried to devise new ways of still doing business. And that's when the online market blew up. And people were doing things more online from the comfort of their home. Right? Even I'm one of them. That's why I started my own online stuff. So you also have to adapt to situations. So when you monitor your progress, you also make your adjustments and ensure that you are still hitting your goal. The next part I want to talk about is accountability partner. In achieving your goals, sometimes you need somebody who can hold your hand and tell you, okay, yeah, you're on the right path, go ahead. How far is progress? Are you making progress in this? Is this still going on well? That person might be a source of motivation to you. Right? I personally did that last year. There was a particular venture I went into towards the end of last year. And one of my staff was my accountability partner. He would always come and ask me, how far? Jeremy, have you done this one? What's the progress? And that, he might not know that what was doing for me. But while he was doing that to me, it was giving me more motivation to continue. Yes, it was. Right? So you need to have an accountability partner at some point. Someone who would always keep you in check. So that your goal you want to achieve will still be in line with that. Number 8 will be visualize your success. If you look at the future and see what that thing, that your goal will do for you, That again might serve as a motivation for you. Let's say you're paying a house rent of 300,000, all right, every year, and you know that by the time you build your house, that rentage is off your neck. Just use that as an instance. That rentage is off your neck. You'll be saving 300,000 every year that you're supposed to be spending to pay house rent. That can be enough motivation for you to continue. Or you envisage yourself, oh yes, I'm in my house now, you know, I've set it with my taste, my children are happy, no landlord coming to knock on here, hey, my house rent, all those things are gone. So visualize your success even while you are in the process of achieving that goal. That again will serve as a motivation for you to push on to achieve that set goal. Number 9 is self-discipline. This again is the most important one because at the end of the day, it is your goal. Nobody can best push you than yourself. You talk about self-motivation. No good thing comes easy. You have to work hard for it. So at the end of the day, you have to discipline yourself to follow through with your action plans. You have to discipline yourself to probably save more so that you can build the house. You have to discipline yourself to do a lot of things so that you can achieve that goal. So self-discipline is one thing you must hold very clear to yourself if you want to achieve your goals. And lastly, celebrate your small wins. Celebrate your small wins. Like I mentioned about having measurable goals, right? Where you say, okay, I have gotten the land, I have done my foundation, I've hit lintel level. Across each of those milestones, celebrate it. Now, when I celebrate, I don't mean you go and spend all the little money you're saving for the project and then go and lavish it. No, that's not what I mean. For instance, you might have started yourself of going to E3s, you know, because you're trying to achieve this. You can say, once I hit each milestone, I will take myself out. I will do that E3, buy chicken and one yogurt and drink and tell myself, well done. Yes. Alright? That is it. That is you celebrating your little successes, your little wins. If you do that continuously, and by the grace of God, I'm sure we'll all achieve our goals. Thank you very much.